We're kicking off with the 2025 Royal Rumble, which kicked off in dramatic fashion, but while Drew McIntyre didn't secure his second Rumble victory, his elimination has become a major talking point. Reports from PW Insider Elite and F4W Online reveal that the source of McIntyre's anger and frustration is none other than LA Knight. According to these reports, McIntyre's anger stems from an errant movement by Knight, which disrupted the planned execution of his elimination alongside Damian Priest. During the match, Damian Priest eliminated Drew McIntyre, setting the stage for a planned storyline between the two. However, the execution didn't go as intended, as LA Knight unintentionally disrupted the moment while Priest was tossing McIntyre over the top rope. This interference caused the sequence to lose its momentum. Both McIntyre and Knight had hoped for a seamless execution of the spot, but the unexpected mishap derailed their plans, something McIntyre was not happy about. Was LA Knight entirely at fault? A closer look reveals Logan Paul standing in the middle of the ring with LA Knight just behind him ready to attack. But did Logan Paul's delayed reaction lead to a collision that ruined execution of the spot? While WWE hasn't officially named Knight as the primary culprit, he remains the only person linked to McIntyre's post-match frustrations. The former WWE champion was visibly furious the moment he got backstage, yelling and cursing about someone botching the spot. His anger escalated to the point that he stormed out of the arena before the Rumble match even concluded. PW Insider also noted that McIntyre wasn't the only one upset. Several other WWE stars were reportedly frustrated with Knight as well. Despite the backstage chaos, WWE has since been in contact with McIntyre, with some sources downplaying the situation. They acknowledged his frustration, but believe it's an issue that can be tweaked and rectified. Adding fuel to the fire, Fightful Select reports that McIntyre was so upset that he completely skipped WWE's official after-party, making it clear just how much the botched moment affected him. While the rest of the locker room celebrated the massive event, McIntyre was nowhere to be seen. However, his frustration isn't just about the Rumble mishap. According to Fightful, McIntyre is also displeased with his rumored WrestleMania 41 plans. WWE is reportedly positioning him in a feud with Damian Priest, but after his standout performances in 2024, McIntyre feels he deserves a much higher profile spot on the card. This isn't the first time McIntyre has voiced his frustrations. When CM Punk made his shocking WWE return, McIntyre was reportedly unhappy at first, though he eventually worked with Punk. With WrestleMania 41 fast approaching, his frustration could either trigger a major shakeup in his creative direction or lead to an even bigger fallout. So what's next for Drew McIntyre? Will he force his way into a marquee WrestleMania match, or is this just the beginning of a bigger problem? Should WWE give him the spotlight he believes he deserves, or is he overreacting? Sound off below. In easily the most shocking moment of the night, Jey Uso won the Men's Royal Rumble match, last eliminating John Cena in what will be the WWE Icon's final time competing in a Rumble. According to Viper reports of PWN, Jey Uso was planned to win the Men's Royal Rumble as early as the beginning of January, or possibly as far back as last December. This was clearly something WWE had intended to do for a long time, as WWE is determined to make Jey Uso a megastar who will now headline a night of WrestleMania once again. With his ticket punched, the question now turns to whether Jey will challenge World Heavyweight Champion Gunther or WWE Champion / former tag partner Cody Rhodes. In a post-show interview, Uso made clear he's coming for the World Heavyweight Championship, setting up a rematch with Gunther, an opponent Jey has never beaten. With a showdown between Uso and Gunther set for WrestleMania 41, the question remains, will Jey finally take down the Reign General, or will Gunther once again prove his dominance? In a match with names including John Cena, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins, Jey Uso's win was a surprise and one that many fans have not been happy with. On Twitter, several have shared their issues with the result, with one fan saying they love Jey, but WWE chose the worst possible scenario of at least 6 potential finishes. Another fan said it was embarrassing that Cena lost to Jey in the WWE GOAT's last Royal Rumble, and another fan said that Triple H could have been the greatest Royal Rumble ever. A different fan shared that they hate Triple H with a burning, fiery, scorching, excruciating passion because of the booking, as another said that WWE's CCO is losing ideas. That fan even went as far as to say that it's time for Triple H to resign as we're missing Vince McMahon, and another fan said that they're done watching after calling the game a fraud. Several fans have demanded that Triple H be fired for having Jey Uso win the Men's Royal Rumble match, but fans can expect the WWE veteran to be around for a long time to come. Ultimately, the decision has been made and Jey Uso was booked to win, giving the 2025 Royal Rumble match one of the most shocking finishes in Royal Rumble history. In the Women's Royal Rumble, Charlotte Flair punched her ticket to WrestleMania by winning from the number 27 spot, making her the first ever 2-time Women's Royal Rumble match winner. While Charlotte's victory was far less shocking than Jey, it too proved to be controversial, with many sharing their issue with her victory on YouTube. WWE's video showing Flair's victory has proven to be a source of anger for fans, as the video racked up 16,447 dislikes at the time of this video. With just 5,513 likes, that means that 75% of fans who reacted to the video did so in a negative way, showing that Flair's return has not been the feel-good moment WWE had hoped for. Fans also took to social media to share their complaints, including accusing WWE of recycling the same main event players and refusing to push new talent. Others pointed out that Charlotte has already had multiple title matches at WrestleMania, making it hard to get excited for another run for the newly dubbed top girl of WWE. WrestleMania 41 will mark Flair's 8th title match at a WrestleMania, a feat that many on WWE's roster have never achieved even once. Close to a decade after her call-up to the main roster, Charlotte remains one of WWE's top female stars, even with fans making their opposition to her Rumble win loud and clear. With Flair's victory, the question is now whether she will face Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania 41 or seek a rematch with Rhea Ripley after losing to Mommy in 2023. While speaking on the WrestleMania podcast, Tiffany Stratton was asked about possibly facing Charlotte this April and was all for a showdown with the Queen. Stratton's excited to put her moonsault against Flair's own use of the move and argued that hers is known as the prettiest moonsault ever for a reason. It's been reported by Fightful Select that WWE has been discussing a match between the two, which now seems all but guaranteed following Charlotte's victory in the Women's Rumble match. Though Stratton is on SmackDown, fans may not have to wait until this Friday to learn of Charlotte's plan, as Adam Pearce has confirmed that Flair will be a part of tonight's Raw. Not only will Charlotte be on Netflix, but Men's Royal Rumble match winner Jey Uso will also be on the show, presumably to kick off his feud with World Heavyweight Champion Gunther. As for Tiffany Stratton, she's been a star on the rise ever since her time in NXT, but will her run as Women's Champion come crashing down at WrestleMania thanks to Flair? Time will tell. After 2 years off TV, Alexa Bliss is back on WWE programming, and now fans know where they'll be able to see the goddess every single week. Following her return in the Women's Royal Rumble match, one of WWE's best-kept secrets in recent memory, Bliss will be a part of Raw, according to Ringside News. Bliss returned as the 21st entrant in the match in a stunning moment, and WWE went to great lengths to keep her return top secret, including finalizing her deal at 5 a.m. on Saturday morning. Once the deal was locked in, Bliss was brought into Lucas Oil Stadium around 3 p.m. and hidden from everyone, including wrestlers, staff, and key WWE figures to avoid leaks. In rehearsals, the reports earlier in the day said that Shotzi was supposed to be the number 21 entrant, but the veteran who's been working in NXT recently was swapped out for Bliss at the last minute. Though nobody is blaming Bliss, Ringside News reports that there is sympathy backstage for Shotzi, who lost her Royal Rumble spot without much warning last weekend. Nevertheless, Bliss impressed in her return and is back on the Raw roster, and now the question is whether Bliss will find herself sharing the ring with Women's World Champion Rhea Ripley. A match between the two could be in the cards, as is a feud with Liv Morgan, as it was the former World Champion who eliminated Bliss from the Rumble, possibly kicking off a feud. While nothing has been confirmed yet, there are some directions Bliss could go in now she's back, and it's only a matter of time before we learn what she has in store. Will Alexa go after Rhea Ripley, seek revenge on Liv Morgan for eliminating her, or is there another story WWE should explore? Drop your thoughts below. During Bliss's return last night, fans also noted a subtle detail. Her doll Lily bore the number 6 on its eye, sparking speculation that Bliss might align with the Wyatt 6. However, that doesn't appear to be the case, as Bliss has been assigned to the Raw brand, placing her on the opposite roster from the Wyatt 6 and her former ally, Braun Strowman. Originally, WWE's plans hinted at Bliss joining the Wyatt 6, with many expecting a potential feud between the faction and the Judgment Day, but with her official move to Raw, Bliss now finds herself without an immediate connection to the group, unless WWE makes a last-minute decision to revisit those plans. The likelihood of that happening seems slim, as Michael Cole confirmed that the transfer window is closed and all roster changes are final. That said, PW Insider Elite has reported that WWE still intends for Bliss and the Wyatt 6 to reunite at some point. The real question is, when? Will it be before or after WrestleMania 41? Only time will tell. More from the Royal Rumble, as Logan Paul's elimination from the men's match has earned a loud pop from the crowd, and the Maverick took his anger out on Cenat. The streamer had been invited to the Rumble on last week's Raw by Pat McAfee, and in a video recorded at the Rumble, Paul can be heard yelling, "It's all your fault," and "Go f*** yourself." Cenat wasn't going to let this slide, telling Paul that he sucks, as well as telling him to shut the f*** up and to get out of here. Perhaps Paul blames Cenat for distracting him in the Royal Rumble match, or was simply frustrated that his opportunity to headline WrestleMania had slipped through his fingers. Either way, this confrontation has gone viral, and fans have been left debating if this was a genuine meltdown or the setup for something bigger for the two online performers. Logan Paul was the number 30 entrant into this year's Men's Royal Rumble match, but as he made his way to the ring, the Maverick crossed a line with a fan in the eyes of many. During his entrance, Paul spotted a fan holding out a Polaroid camera for a selfie, only to grab the item in question and slam it onto the entrance ramp, shattering it upon impact. TikTok user I Am Anthony shared footage of the exact moment Paul destroyed his camera, and the stunned fan could only respond by saying, "I hate you, Logan Paul." This is another controversy to Paul's name, with fans debating whether Paul was simply playing a heel or if he crossed a line when he smashed something belonging to another person. Fortunately for Anthony, he didn't have to watch Paul win the Rumble, as the former US champion was the penultimate man eliminated after making it to the final three. As for Anthony, it remains to be seen whether Paul or WWE will offer to replace his camera, as many feel what happened in Lucas Oil Stadium went way too far. Though Logan Paul didn't win the Royal Rumble, he did eliminate AJ Styles in what was the Phenomenal One's first match back after the Liz Frank injury he suffered in October. Styles, using his original WWE theme, entered at number 21, but was unable to guarantee himself a WrestleMania main event thanks to Paul in a moment AJ has found humiliating. Speaking with Kathy Kelly backstage, Styles didn't hide his frustration over being eliminated by a YouTuber turned wrestler, as he said, "I don't know if I'll ever live that one down. At least I'm not the only one dealing with this humiliation." Styles is referring to the fact that Paul also eliminated CM Punk and, despite his setback in Indianapolis, was pleased to be back in the ring, as he said, "I got in there with some of the best, I held my own, and I showed the world that AJ Styles is still phenomenal." Styles returned to action far earlier than expected, as Liz Frank injuries can take up to a year to come back from in the most serious of cases. We'll have to wait and see what's next for AJ Styles after being eliminated by Logan Paul, and would you like to see these two feud? Share your thoughts down in our comments section. Roxanne Perez broke the record for the longest run in a Women's Royal Rumble match, and now her days as part of NXT are numbered. Fightful Select reports that Perez will be heading to the main roster sooner rather than later, following the Prodigy's standout performance in last weekend's 30-woman match. WWE has reportedly been eyeing Perez for a main roster spot since early January, and while there's no official call-up date locked in, sources have confirmed it's just a matter of time. Her Royal Rumble showing cemented that her NXT run, which saw her win the NXT Women's title twice and win the Women's Tag Team titles, is nearing its end. Outside of WWE, Perez was the very first ROH Women's Champion, and which brand do you think she'll land on? And who do you think she'll target first? Let us know down below. On January 31st, GCW held an event in Indianapolis, and during a merchandise event, the long-standing issues between Dylan Bostic and Joey Janela reached a boiling point. Bostic stormed up to Janela and flipped a table on the former AEW star, and the two quickly fought, resulting in bystanders jumping in to break up the action. Bostic was the one to share the footage of the fight, but now Janela had dropped a video of his own, which shows bystanders holding Bostic down after the initial scuffle. Along with the clip, Janela included a caption in which he claims that Bostic begged for mercy and that Calvin Tankman grabbed Bostic and carried a screaming Dylan through a door. Janela also reminded everyone that he was already injured before the fight, saying he's dealing with a torn bicep when Bostic instigated things, as Joey was just trying to meet fans and sell shirts. This latest footage directly contradicts Bostic's attempts to frame the fight as a one-sided beatdown, and Janela has been vocal about Bostic being the aggressor in this incident. This matter stems from a 2020 issue in which Bostic accused AEW of slashing his pay, and Janela would dismiss him back then and would ignore Bostic's challenge for a boxing or MMA fight. Janela ended his post by saying the video is a nice lesson for everyone never to try and attempt some shit at a GCW show, and while he may be done talking, the internet is not. This incident shows how things can get heated among wrestlers, and fans will have to wait to see whether Bostic has a response following Janela's claims that he begged for mercy. To many, Paul Heyman is a bona fide creative genius in wrestling, and in the early 2000s, he led WWE SmackDown's writing team to create compelling programming. Heyman, of course, was also heavily involved in ECW and had a run as Raw's executive director, but what creative roles does Heyman play in WWE today? Speaking with Sports Media and Richard Deesh, Heyman said that Triple H allows him to make contributions to the Bloodline story, which satisfy a lot of my writing needs. However, Heyman's work extends beyond that group as he helps talent develop promos and shape their characters, and gave an example of helping Braun Breaker figure out his character. As for writing, Heyman says he doesn't miss the role, as he believes he'd be doing just as much writing today, but rather than focus on a show, he's focusing on several wrestlers. Rhea Ripley, Nia Jax, Gunther, Cody Rhodes, and CM Punk are all names who have benefited from the Heyman effect, as the Hall of Famer continues to prove his value backstage in WWE. And we're ending today with the Bloodline storyline, which has been going since 2020 and has seen several superstars get involved, but how much longer will the group be around? On Busted Open Radio, Roman Reigns addressed speculation about when the Bloodline will end, and his response made clear his long-term vision. He said, I think that there's so much meat left on the bone and so many different ways to go. I've only given X amount. There are so many more layers for me to showcase. There are so many more layers for Jay, Jimmy, Solo, Jacob, or Tama. We have so many great characters. For the Wise Man, there are so many more layers to showcase. We're all in our prime. I'm in the best shape of my life. Wise Man is getting into the best shape. It's one of those things where I think we can do this forever. I really do. A lot of people were like, third inning. That was game 1. It's a 7-game series. I'm not trying to bring up these analogies to pinpoint timelines. That's me saying confidently I can run this thing for 2 more years, no problem. 2024 saw new additions to the Bloodline saga, including Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa, and with them, Reigns sees plenty of fuel left in the tank for the Bloodline saga.